Welcome to our March 2022 Moto Ikebana class. I'm Brenda Baird, and this is Moto Ikebana. Today, our cultural feature is the Japanese white-eye bird, also called in Japanese the Meijiro, and that just means the white-eye, the white-eye bird. So let me tell you a little bit about these birds. They range from Africa to India, South Asia to China, Japan, Australia, and many islands in the Indian and Pacific Oceans. These birds are only the size of a chickadee. And when I lived in Japan, of course I came from Ohio where we have cardinals and we have house finches that are red, and I love red birds. And when I went to Japan, there are no red birds there. But boy, did I fall in love with this mossy green color bird with a white eye. Now, it doesn't mean he has a white eye, it just means his eye's black and the ring or the patch around his eye is white. Now, they like to eat nuts and fruits and nectar from various plants, and they love Japanese camellias. And we had a whole town that had a street lined with camellias. But in my garden in Japan, I had bushes around the side of the framing the wall of our garden, and these little birds would come and sit in there, and I just fell in love with them. If you see two of them together, they are probably a couple, especially if they are preening each other. And of course, the males in spring, they sing. So you can get online and you can watch an audio video and hear them singing their song. They're wonderful songbirds. And as a result, because they're small, many people kind of capture them and put them in little cages and keep them as a pet, you know, and have them singing at home. Now, many of you know that there's quite a large group of people from Japan that have moved to Hawaii, right? So back in 1929, Japanese have taken their cute little birds to Hawaii, and unfortunately now they are considered an invasive species because they compete eating the same foods and fruits and berries and nuts that the native birds eat. But they are so adorable and they are so cute. So they are really our inspiration for today's class. So enjoy the Japanese white-eye. Jim's today. I don't know where she is. I haven't talked to her. Okay. She's signed up. Our March design is inspired by the Japanese white-eye bird, and we are just at the end of. We're in March, and winter is, well, it's snowing today, but so winter is just trying to get a little more. Yeah, it's snowing today. But spring is coming, and it won't be long. And we are going to do a slanting sideways form. Now, normally in our designs, we always have, and this design is no different, heaven is always highest. But normally we put heaven in first. In this design, we are going to put the man line, which will be the longest line, and we're going to slant it and put it towards your left shoulder. As you're looking at your arrangement, you're designing your arrangement, you'll put it toward your left shoulder and just coming out. Then you're going to place the heaven line in, and that's going to be about 3/4 to 2/3 of the man line. You'll see that on your drawing. You'll get two stems of the Italian ruscus, and this one was longer, but I cut off the bottom of the stem. Don't cut out the tip, but don't work down from the top. Now that said, I'm going to say just the opposite for the next item that I'm going to tell you about. But don't cut off this, because then you won't have a beautiful tapered branch to work with in your design. You want that nice flow in that triangle to go down. So these Italian ruscus are rather wild and hairy. And so just like a bad hair day yesterday, we had rain and my hair was just like everywhere. And so these Italian ruscus are no different than that, but they look rather hairy. So you're going to take your cutters and you're going to snip out all of the extraneous pieces that are not making this look like a good line here. So you're going to snip out some of those pieces. Okay, so once you have your man line in and your heaven line in, heaven is always seeking us, but we might be off doing our own thing and want control over whatever we're doing, right? But this is what we need to focus on here. Now the next, so this is man, this is heaven, and then all of this is the earth. We're using the white with the black center or the brown center Gerber daisy, and these particular ones are called Snoopy. And they really kind of mimic the eye of this beautiful little Japanese white-eyed bird, the Meijiro. But we're going to use these straws. If you have a straw, well, you can use that to slide up the stem. In the past, we've used wires and floral tape and different things, but today we're just going to use these straws and slide them up the stem to keep them from their necks from tipping or bending. What you need to know about Gerber daisy is they're very affected by bacteria in your water. So you want to be sure to keep your Kenzon clean and washed, and you can run it through the dishwasher if you have a dishwasher, or just take a brush and clean it really well. And clean your container so that there's no debris or dust or dirt in your container. Just keep everything really clean, and that will help your Gerber daisy stay longer. You're going to slide these tubes or these straws up the stem, and you're going to cut your Gerber daisies half the height of the heaven line. So I've already kind of measured it, so it's half the height of the heaven line, which is right here. And then every one that you put in after that will be a little bit shorter in 3 levels, and always marching forward and we created a triangle between here and here and here in a slim triangle, and now we're creating an opposing triangle here, here, and here. The straws are the same size, but when you get to these shorter ones, you may have to cut with your cutters, cut off the straw. I want you to have the stem of the Gerber coming out at least 1 inch longer than the straw, so that you can pinch your fingers and hold that and place it into the Kenzon so that it will stay. These straws are not very, let's just say they're not flexible, and they will do their own thing, and you will be angry if you leave these longer and put them in the Kenzon, because they will go where you don't want them to go. So just cut them shorter so that they're not in the pins. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the Magnolia leaves. And the Magnolia leaves have beautiful brown flocked side, and they also have a glorious shiny green front side. And on your Magnolia, you want to cut out from the top about 3 or 4 maybe leaves, and cut that out from the top if you have a bushy Magnolia stem, and then use the leaves at the bottom for maybe the back and turn them. Sometimes the upper part can have both, you'll see both the brown side and the green side at the same time. So you can place that into the front so you can see both of those play on textures and colors. So after you get the Magnolia leaves in a nice arrangement, then you're going to take the Yoko Ono green chrysanthemums, and you're going to take off, as always take off all the leaves, because in a day or two they're going to turn yellow, they're going to fold up. So take them off. And then these particular Yoko Onos are very voluptuous, and there are lots of heads, they're very dense, and so you can even cut out a few so that they're not so thick and so clumpy and bushy in your design. You can always use the little pieces that are left over to put in a little tiny vase. When you go home, you can stick it in a little something and enjoy it that way, or you can add them into the back or into the design in another place. So that is the filler today. Sometimes you may get a little head when they're like these with little tiny petals of these Yoko Onos that they'll shatter, what I call shattering, where all the petals will just kind of drop and just come out. We'll cut that off and just edit that right off the bat so you don't have all these petals landing in the water, because that could cause bacteria to form in your water if they land in there. So enjoy today our slanting sideways form. This is a rimpa or a fan-shaped bowl, but you can use all different shapes. Pedestals, you can use low open, boat-shaped bowls, just simple little round or square bowls, rectangular bowls. You can use many shapes to get this slanting sideways form. Well, I feel like I need to see something over here. There we go.
He's not eating.
There we go. And yeah, I would put some of these in.
You think?
Yeah, right down in here.